What's going on, guys? Today we're out here on the Wired Cruiser, 2,000 watts, over 2,000 watts, goes over 35 miles an hour, and we're just gonna do a quick riding video and talk about a topic that recently was brought to my attention, actually in my state of Connecticut, which is Uncle Sam helping you pay for your e-bikes. Let me take these keys out of, put my keys in this little cup holder thing, and they're dangling around making a bunch of noise. Anyways, Uncle Sam helping you pay for your own electric bike. Pretty cool, right? And what a lot of people suspect is that there are going to be more and more government incentives for people getting their own e-bikes, in the same way that there's government incentives for people to get electric cars. Like you can get some kind of a tax credit, I think of like $7,500 if you buy a Tesla or some other electric vehicle, which is a great little chunk of change to help people out get their electric car. And certain incentives like that are being released for electric bikes. How cool is that? I mean, we all know electric bikes are the future because they are sick. They are awesome. And they're very efficient. You combine the best of both worlds, your leg power and augmenting your leg power with an electric motor, or vice versa, augmenting the power of an electric motor with your legs, however you want to see it, for a very efficient vehicle. Low carbon footprint, zero emissions, yada yada yada, and doesn't really take up that many batteries as a Tesla, right? So there's so many reasons as to why the government wants to incentivize people getting these e-bikes, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. Whenever something good happens like this, there's always bad things that can come out of it. So we're just here to kind of talk about all of those. I want to bring it up to your attention, and we'll have a discussion. If you guys have any comments on what we're going to talk about in this video. So much acceleration on this thing. I know that was downhill, but still. This bike has so much power. It's unbelievable. Anyways, back to it. So with Connecticut, what they released is an incentive that gives people an extra $500 off of an e-bike. And it gets even better. If you live in an area that's distressed, or if you have below a certain amount of income, I think in Connecticut's case it was like $43,000 per year, or if you live in one of the cities or towns that's distressed, you get an additional $1,000. So that's a total of $1,500 off of an e-bike, which is crazy. That's amazing. That's pretty much a stimulus check that Uncle Sam gives you for your own personal electric vehicle. Pretty amazing. And so Connecticut made one. I don't know if other states have something similar or have tried something similar. Connecticut had a certain limit. I don't want to say it was like $10 million or something like that. I don't know how much it was. That when that amount ran out, the vouchers ran out. And so allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, those vouchers ran out in a couple days. I think at most a week. They were gone. People just snatched them right up, and for a good reason too. If you're thinking about getting an e-bike and someone's like, hey, I'm gonna take off 75% off the cost of this e-bike. Let's say your e-bike is $2,000 and you pay only $500. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. All right. So it ran out very quickly. Some things that might change in regards to laws because of these incentives are potentially laws on these bikes, right? So for example, people could say that, because we're paying for your bike, it has to comply with X, Y, and Z law. And one of those, I guess, is that the bikes that you have to buy, for example, for my state, Connecticut, the bike that you have to buy has to be purchased at a shop that is local to Connecticut. So you can't just go out online and buy the Wired Cruiser 35 mile an hour 2,000 watt e-bike for $2,000 and get $1,500 off. You cannot do that. You have to buy one from a local shop, and I'm sure shops have to sign up for this as well. They get, recompensated somehow, hopefully. And there's a certain list of bikes that you can get, right? So you can't just get anything, even if it is sold in Connecticut. So like let's say if it's a $5,000 expensive downhill mid-drive e-bike, you can't just buy that and get $1,500 off. It has to qualify as one of the bikes that's allowed. And I'll post all of those notes in the video as we're kind of rambling on. But things I see happening because of these incentives are people get these e-bikes. There's going to be a lot of them in circulation, which is great because there's going to be a lot of extra parts online. People are selling them online probably for cheap. Let's say you buy an e-bike, right? If I wanted to make a profit of $500, I would sign up for this voucher. I would get that $2,000 e-bike for $500, right? And I would maybe sell it for $1,000 or more on Facebook Marketplace or somewhere else and make myself a quick buck. So there's going to be a lot of cheap bikes out there, which is, it's good and bad. Everyone, I'm not going to be a saint and tell you don't take advantage of the government. Someone once was asked, I don't know if this is a comedian or someone else, said, "Do you pay charity?" And they said, "Yes, I pay my taxes." So if the government is giving you something, I'm not going to tell you don't take it, don't take advantage of it, because to say that they are not taking advantage of you would be lying, in my opinion. But so there's going to be a lot of extra parts and bikes online in circulation. And I think because of that, there's probably going to be a lot of laws, additional laws, unfortunately, for these e-bikes in terms of, what Europe did. They limited them to 250 watts, which is ridiculous because you could easily, people on normal bikes can easily go faster than what some of these low-power e-bikes can put out. So people are kind of stuck over there with mid-drives because that's the most effective way you can kind of use and ration out that low amount of power. Here, the quote-unquote legal limit in the United States is 750 watts. And people get around that all the time by, bikes like this that you can unlock to 2,000 watts and go insanely fast if you want to. Like that. Ridiculous, man. This thing is sick. I love this bike. You can't do that with a 250 watt motor, especially on a big fat tire e-bike like this. Oh, little window. I was pedaling hard. Let me know in the comments below if your state has released any kind of e-bike incentives on their end. How is Uncle Sam paying for your e-bike today? Or are there any other incentives that are being proposed in your states? I'm really curious to hear because, as we all know, these e-bikes are getting more and more popular. Even if you look at Google Trends, if you go and type in e-bike, the amount people have searched for e-bikes in Google Trends has more than quadrupled since 2018, and that's only going to get higher and higher. This bike is so nice. I feel like a mini motorcycle on this. Make sure we come to a complete stop. Well, almost complete stop. So I'm curious if my state will release yet another amount of money for e-bike purchases. It'd be kind of cool. Seeing more and more of these e-bikes out on the road. They're getting more and more popular. Where these e-bikes are right now, I would compare it to kind of like custom built computers back in the late 90s, early 2000s. For any of you computer dorks out there, like myself, I was a huge computer dork back in the day. Built my first computer back in 2004 when I was 16 years old. I got a job at Subway just so I can save money to build my own computer. But back then, the way to get the most power out of your PC is to build it yourself. You build it, and then you overclock it, which back in the 90s was kind of risky. Now it's very easy. There's lots of internal protections, and people sell pre-built overclocked systems from the factory. Look at this thing, 35 miles an hour going up this hill. What the hell? But that's where e-bikes are now, and I guarantee you in the future there's going to be fast and cheap e-bikes everywhere, similar to this one right here. Going 35 miles an hour on $2,000 e-bike will be normal probably in maybe like 5 years or so. And of course people are going to put out a bunch of laws limiting power, maybe forcing you to register it somehow. There's probably going to be more police on certain trails checking your wattage. I don't know how all of that's enforced. Let me know in the comments below if you have an idea of how they're going to even enforce that. I don't really know. But I'm sure in the future they will definitely make more and more incentives similar to the one that was in my state of Connecticut. And let me know if anything like that is in the pipelines in your state, or if you have any idea if there's anything federally like that that's getting released. Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what you guys have going on in your state. So yeah guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to start a discussion in the comments of what kind of incentives you guys have coming up in your states or currently in your state, and certain laws that might come up as a result of that. But I really love how e-bikes are getting more and more popular. I think it's amazing. More and more people are going to have them. There's going to be more group rides. Regular bicycles, dare I say, might go extinct, especially as battery technology gets better and cells get more efficient, more energy dense. These batteries are going to be tiny and produce more power. And they'll be cheap. And by then it's like, well, why would you ever just rely on your own legs unless you just want exercise and you want to go slow? I will argue all day long that you can get exercise on an e-bike. The only difference is that you have to go faster and further to get a similar amount of exercise. And you have to be disciplined with how much power you use. Currently, I'm not focusing on exercise. Whatever exercise I get on this bike right now, just chilling, driving around these roads, these beautiful roads of Burlington, Connecticut, it's a bonus. Like if I pedal really hard, try and go fast like I did earlier, I feel myself winded, no doubt. But I know I'm not getting as much exercise. Really, I got e-bikes just because it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I like fun. And I like going fast on my bike because it's a lot of fun. I feel like a little mini motorcycle. So that's the end of the video, guys. Not a whole lot to talk about except the news about e-bike incentives. Mostly I just wanted to create some discussion in the comments on e-bike incentives, and if there are any laws, and if there are any incentives in your area for good old Uncle Sam to give back your hard-earned, heavily taxed money and help you buy an awesome e-bike. Until next time, peace out.